Hello everyone, welcome to our PLDC project. The project title is PHP versus C Sharp and our group number is 105. This is the introduction of the project topic. PHP and C Sharp are the main web development programming languages used by the web developers. We targeted to explain some main differences of them. Running platform. PHP development environment contains 4 components: a base operating system, a web server, a database engine. And this is a LAMP framework. Firstly, the user opens his web browser at home and types in the URL. After looking up the domain, browser send an HTTP request to the corresponding server IP address. Secondly, the web server handling HTTP requests for the domain when receives the request and notes that the URL ends with the .php suffix. Because the server is programmed to automatically redirect all such requests to the PHP layer, it simply invokes the PHP interpreter and passes it the contents of the name file. The PHP interpreter passes the file, executing the code in the special PHP tags. Within these tags, you can perform calculations, process user inputs, interacts with the databases, read and write files, etc. Once the script interpreter has completed executing the PHP instructions, it returns the result to the browser and goes back into hibernation. Fourthly, the result returned by the interpreter are transmitted to browser by the web server. In here you can see a brief description of the tasks above I described. Now we see the advantages of the PHP platform. An important corollary of this approach is that the PHP code is executed on the server and not on the client browser. This allows web developers to write program code that is completely independent of the browser, an important security advantage over language like JavaScript. In the .NET architecture and the .NET framework, there are different important terms and concepts which we will discuss one by one there. The Common Language Runtime (CLR), the Microsoft Intermediate Language (MSIL) code, just-in-time compilers, the framework class library, the common language specification, the command type system, garbage collection. The Common Language Runtime (CLR). The most important concept of the .NET framework is the existing and functionality of the .NET Common Language Runtime, also called .NET Runtime for short. It is a framework layer that resides above the operating system and handles execution of all the .NET applications. Our programs don't directly communicate with the operating system but go through the CLR. Microsoft Intermediate Language code (MSIL). When we compile our .NET program using any .NET language such as C# VB.NET or C++.NET. Our source code does not get converted into the executable binary code, but an intermediate code known as MSIL, which is interpreted by the command language runtime. MSIL is operating system and hardware independent code. Upon program execution, this MSIL intermediate code is converted to binary executable code called native code. Cross-language relationships are possible as the MSIL code and similar for each .NET language.